What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode here at the Game Knights. You have Titan here, of course, bringing you guys another hot as hell deck profile for today, and I'm coming at you guys with the Phantom Knights Burning Abyss deck profile today. It's not going to be piloted by me though, it's going to be piloted by my co-member Jax Jackal. He is super excited to show off this deck. It's another fantastic deck that showcases Dragoon quite nicely. So let's take a little tour and do a little bit of traveling with Dante into the Burning Abyss, shall we? I really hope that you guys like the video. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Make sure that you smash that notification bell so that you're always notified on what your game nights are doing. And also hit us up on Facebook. And definitely don't forget to share the video, guys. We super duper appreciate that. But without any further ado, let's get right on into the deck profile and let's go into the Burning Abyss.
Welcome to the deck profile portion of the video. We'll just get right on into it by showing off the 3 Phantom Knights of Torn Scale that you play. So these guys are your main engine card of the Phantom Knights, cards that you have in the deck. What he does, he allows you to ditch any card in your hand, and then he lets you send any Phantom Knights card from your deck to the graveyard. Whether that's a spell card, a trap card, or a monster, he doesn't care, he'll just send it. And then when he's in graveyard, when you banish another Phantom Knights card, you get to special summon him to the field. But if he leaves the field, he gets banished instead of going to the graveyard. Nice way to get around that is going into an XYZ because he counts as XYZ material. So therefore, he still can go to the graveyard and not get banished by his own effect. He's great. He's level 3, Dark Warrior, so you can search him off with the Rhoda. The next monster that we play 3 of is the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. So Little Booty Boots. He is probably one of my favorite guys. I like little fast dudes, and this guy's a little fast dude. What he does is if you control another face-up Phantom Knights monster card, you can reveal him in your hand and then special summon him to your field. So it's just any position that you want. Attack, defense, doesn't really matter. So the typical play is you summon a Torn Scale and then you special summon the Silent Boots as well. If he's in the graveyard, you can banish him and add yourself any Phantom Knights spell or trap card. So that's your Fog Blade or your rank up card. He adds it to you. He's also a Dark Warrior, so he's also searchable off of Rhoda. The next card that we play 3 of is the Cloak, the other best one. He doesn't have a special summon effect, but when he is in the graveyard, you get to banish him, and then he adds you any Phantom Knights card. And then his first effect, guys, if you guys don't know, it's less used because it's not that good. You can target a face-up dark monster you control, and then change it to defense, and then if you do, that card gains 800 attack and defense until the end of your opponent's next turn. So do what you want with that, you probably won't be using it. The next card that we play is a 1 of. We play 1 Gloves. This card is literally amazing at 1, nothing more. Some people are going to be like, why are you playing only 1 Gloves? He can become anything. Because you only ever need it once. If you do Gloves twice, you're probably already going to lose the game. So just play 1. What he does is when he's in the graveyard, you can banish him and then sends any Phantom Knight card from your deck to the graveyard. Any Phantom Knight card, so you can even send a Fog Blade to revive stuff with it. So that's pretty cool. He's also a warrior, so, you know, more reinforcement targets. Next card we play 1 of is the Phantom Knight of Stained Greaves. He's really cool. In the hand, when you special summon a Phantom Knights card, you can also special summon this card. If he is in the graveyard, you can banish him and then special summon a Phantom Knight card in your hand. So he's this great extension. You could consider playing him at more than 1, just so that you can see him in your opening hand more. The next card that we play 3 of is my favorite card in the entire game, Tour Guide of the Underworld. Such an iconic card. She's struggled with the ban list her entire life, like she's a little drug addict, but it's fine. She likes the hammer. It's okay. What she does is when she's normal summoned, she gets to special summon a dark level 3 fiend from your deck and negates its effect. So what she is really good for is special summoning out Graph from your deck, specifically, or Seer if you need to special summon a Burning Abyss from your graveyard. That's more going turn 2 stuff. So if you're going first, you always want to special summon out Graph, because that will extend your combo the furthest. She's just honestly the best girl. She's a level 3 Dark Fiend, so she can even search herself. She has no restrictions saying that she can't, so if you are out of Burning Abyss monsters and still need to tour guide, then you can. Also, Scarm, which is a card that I play that not many other Burning Abyss players tend to do. I don't see them play it a lot. Scarm can search this card during the end phase, giving you a card for Dragoon, and also just the Tour Guide in case your field gets wiped, you can still make plays with the Tour Guide on the next turn. So the next card that we play 2 of is the Graph. So Graph is really good. He's the first Burning Abyss monster that I'll be showcasing. He was also the first Burning Abyss monster announced, so kind of fair as to why he's the first one. So all Burning Abyss monsters, you can reveal them in your hand if you control no spell or trap cards and special summon them, or you can use his effect where if he's sent to the graveyard, you get to special summon any Burning Abyss monster from your deck. So yeah, so Graph is amazing. He's better than Seer. He lets you special summon from the deck, whereas Seer lets you special summon from the graveyard. Most of the time you'll be wanting to special summon from the deck, so when you're summoning Tour Guide, you're going to be wanting to grab the Graph, right, like I said, just because he lets you special summon from the deck. The next card that we play 2 of is Seer. He's lovely. He is Graph, but for the graveyard. He lets you special summon any Burning Abyss monster from the graveyard, whether that's Dante, a Cherubini, it doesn't matter. He'll grab it for you, he'll special summon it. He's pretty good. He's also the beefiest of the Burning Abyss monsters, so if you need Cherubini to have attack for whatever reason, she gets bumped up to 2100, which isn't a lot, but it's significant. You can do some damage with her that way. But if you're in a position where you're attacking the Cherubini, you're probably going to be losing the game. So send Graph, or if you're using Cherubini to send a Burning Abyss monster, send Graph or Farfa. Just something that isn't this card. The next card that we play 2 of is Farfa. So Farfa is one of my favorite Burning Abyss monsters. He is so good in so many situations. He just gets rid of so many problematic cards. He has the effect where if he gets into the graveyard, you get to target a face-up monster your opponent controls and banish it, which is great. And the banishment just lasts till the end phase, so they inevitably get it back. But that's fine, because you got to deal with it for the turn. And if you're Farfaing them, then it's most likely that you're playing OTK them anyway, and you're just trying to get them off the board, right? So he's just good to clean up with. The next card that we play, it's a 1 of, is Scarm. Nobody plays this card. I don't understand why. It's so good. It was one of the original 3 Burning Abyss like Graph and Seer. What he does is when he gets sent to the graveyard, if he's still there during the end phase, then you get to add any level 3 dark monster from your deck, Dark Fiend monster from your deck. Whether that's a Tour Guide or another Burning Abyss monster, you get to add it. Which means that once you make the Cherubini and you use Graph to special summon out the Scarm, you're good for next turn. You're set because you'll have the Tour Guide to either ditch for the Dragoon that you made, or if you don't make Dragoon, or you don't use the Dragoon negate, then you get to summon the Tour Guide you searched off the Scarm, and then the normal summon doesn't matter. So Scarm is a great card. People, you should play it if you want to get ahead. Also, another sneaky tactic that I've been reminded of is during end phase, you can add the Farfa, and that way when you make the Dragoon, you can negate the card with Dragoon, destroy it, but also pitch Farfa at the same time, banishing another thing. So it's an extra interruption. It just gets rid of 2 cards instead of the 1. It's just a neat little combo that you can do with Scarm that it facilitates. So that's just something that you can think about if you're really deciding on if you should put this card in your deck or not. I would say absolutely no more than 1. You don't need it at more than 1 because you can sear it back. You need to add more Tour Guides. It's great. It's recurable. So the next card that we play 3 of is Kagemusha Knight. So what Kagemusha Knight does, he has 0 attack, 0 defense, 3 stars, Dark Warrior, searchable off of Rhoda, by the way. So what this guy does is when you normal summon a level 3 monster, you get to reveal him in your hand and then special summon him. So essentially, what the play is if you open Tour Guide and Kage, you can normal summon Tour Guide, reveal Kage, so that way they can't chain to the Tour Guide effect. They have to chain to the Kage. Tour Guide will resolve special summoning you, say, a Scarm, just because it's the top card. And then Kage will then summon. Now you have, off of 1 normal summon, you now have 3 monsters. Kage also is not once per turn. So if you open 3 Kage and a Tour Guide, this is now your field. Busted, I know. Just some plays. Just some plays. This deck's not busted, Konami. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've only been playing this decks since high school. So the next card that I play is Jackalope. This is a little engine, so we play Jack and Sooch. So what they do, so their effect, is this guy is if he gets ditched, discarded, he allows you to spell summon himself. And then if this guy gets discarded, he lets you spell summon Tsuchinoko from the deck. So either way, you'll get Sooch if they get discarded. Or, if they don't get discarded, this is where the fun starts. Both of them have the same effect to special summon themselves. And then you also get to draw a card. So, busted, I know. No wonder they're at 1. Because if you could play these at more than 1, you would be. So yeah, just lets you have draw power and level 3 bodies that you can easily use to XYZ into things or make Cherubini with. So they're lovely. If they ever get unlimited or put to 2, you would be increasing them to whatever they're at. Oh yeah, also, if these 2 cards get discarded by any means, so that means if you use a Torn Scale to discard one of them, they still activate and get to spell summon the Tsuchinoko. So that's just another like little technique that you can use to be even more ahead than your opponent is. So the next 2 cards that we play are Ash. You can play this card at 3 if you somehow manage to find the space to play it at 3. I play it at 2 because even at 2 I see it when I need to see it, and when I don't need to see it, I don't see it. It's lovely. Obviously everybody knows what Ash does, so I'm not going to go too much into explaining it, but it's just a hand trap that says no to your opponent playing the game. Lovely. The next card that we play is combo pieces. So we play the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Of course I got them in the gold rare because this entire deck is gold rare for the most part. Do I need to read you what they do? Because it's nothing. So the next card that we play is our Rank Up Magic Force. So this is the name spell card, the only spell card in this deck that has anything to do with the actual deck that I'm playing. So this card is nuts. It's for the extra deck. Obviously it's a rank up card, so you're ranking up. What it does is it allows you to target a XYZ monster you control and then spell summon an XYZ dragon, a Raid Raptor, or a Phantom Knight's monster to that thing that a rank higher than it by 1. You also need to banish a dark monster from your graveyard to activate it though, so just make sure that you have something to banish. This card is busted. This is what you're searching off of boots, by the way. Only ever search this card off of boots. This card is more important than Fog Blades. So the next card that we play is Red Eyes Fusion. Of course, you saw the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes. You only ever need to play one of it because you also play Verte in this deck, so that is an easy way to get this card. Another thing is you'll open this card every so often, which at that point your best play is to just activate Red Eyes Fusion anyway, so it's good. It just sends Dark Magician and Red Eyes to the graveyard to special summon out Dragoon. So the next card that we play is a card that I've been mentioning for this entire video. Reinforcements of the Army. This card lets you get any of your Phantom Knights cards from your deck. It adds you a level 4 lower warrior. They're all level 4 lower warriors. It can even grab you Kage, so if you open Turgide Reinforcements, you can activate Reinforcements before summoning Turgide, grab the Kage, go off like that. The next card that we play is Monster Reborn. The next card that we play is 2-ofs. We play 2 Triple Tactic Talents. This card is Pot of Greed, it is Forceful Sentry, and Change of Heart all in one card if your opponent activates a monster effect on your turn. So it is wonderful to just be able to Pot of Greed whenever they do something to hurt you. You can just be like, no, I'm actually not hurt, I actually gained. So the next card that we play is Droplets. Droplets is amazing. I'll also throw down another card here because it goes along nicely. I play 1 Dark Ruler. The reason why I don't play 3 Droplets and still only play 1 Dark Ruler is because not all the times I'm going to have the stuff to discard or send to graveyard to activate Droplets, or have things that I want to send to graveyard to activate Droplets. So it's nice having a card that I can just freely negate everything with, of course. But yeah, so Droplets is nuts. What it does is you can send anything from your hand or field to the graveyard, excluding itself, and then your opponent can't respond with cards of the same type of cards that you sent, and then you target an effect monster, it loses its effect, and its attack, you can target up to as many cards as you sent to activate the card. So this card is literally busted, also worth a fortune. Oh yeah, it doesn't target either, so you know, nuts. Next card that we play is a card that people are going to be like, why do you play it? And it's because Burning Abyss runs out of gas while Phantom Knights do not. This is Pot of Avarice. This card just helps you get your recursion for your Burning Abyss. Next card that I played, the last card in the deck, the only trap card, of course, is the 3 Fogblade. This card is literally nuts. Alright? This card is so bonkers in so many ways. I learned new things about it every single day. So what this card does, you get to activate it by targeting a effect monster on the board, whether that's your own or your opponent's. That card can't activate its effects, can't declare an attack, and can't be attacked. Also, if this card's in the graveyard, you get to banish it and special summon any Phantom Knights monster from your graveyard, whether that's Bardiche, Tornscale, Boots, Gloves, Cloak, whatever you got in the graveyard, it can summon. A great thing that I like doing is Fogblading an opponent's monster. Obviously, they'll get rid of it somehow, and then during the end phase, if they pop my board, I can banish this, get my Bardiche back during their end phase, and then that allows me to activate a second Fogblade in the graveyard to spell something again on my turn. Something that I'm not too sure about that I would love to get some comments about is if your opponent only has one monster on board, and you equip a Fogblade to that monster, do you therefore, since that monster can't be attacked, get to attack your opponent directly? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Would love to know what you think. Alright guys, so that is the full deck. So we have made it to about the halfway point. So I'll just take a second to remind you guys to like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, check us out on Facebook guys. That always helps. Also, if you guys are interested in seeing more videos with me in it, you can go check out my Pokemon Platinum Nuzlocke. Alright, so now getting on into the extra deck. We play the most busted monster Yu-Gi-Oh! Has ever decided to print, Cherubini. She has 500 attack. So what Cherubini does, why she's nuts, she has so many effects just built into one card. So, monsters that this card points to, it has 2 arrows, can't be destroyed by your card effects. Just in general, yours or your opponent's, they just can't be destroyed by card effect, which is great so that if you put a Burning Abyss monster, aka Skarm, there, it won't die, and then you can use that as link material. If she would die, she can send any card that you control, whether that's a monster or a set card, she can send that to the graveyard instead, and she'll survive on. She also gains attack, that is her main effect that you'll be activating. She gains attack, so you can send any level 3 monster from your deck to the graveyard and gain that much attack. The thing to note about that effect though, is that her cost is to send the monster to the graveyard, her effect is to gain the attack. So even if you get ashed on this, you still get to send the monster, they're just stopping the effect gain. So once you make Cherubini, there's literally no way to stop what you're trying to do. So at that point, it's kind of game over. If you make the Cherub, you're probably going to be winning. So the next card that we play 2 of is of course Bardiche. He's at 3 because Konami decided that was okay. Like, this deck was nuts when he was at 1. And then they were like 3. We need him at 3. And I'm just like, okay, he's at 2 in my mind. Because that's what he should be at. This guy is nuts. If he gets sent to the graveyard, you can revive him off the Fogblade, obviously. What he does is when a Dark XYZ monster is summoned to a zone that he points to, he gets to pop a card on the field. Whether that's a back row on either player's board, doesn't matter. Whether that's a monster on either player's board, doesn't matter. His main effect that you'll be activating though is you get to send any Phantom Knights monster card from your deck to the graveyard in order to set a Phantom Knight spell or trap card. So just a great way to search out your Fogblades and not have to use your boots for it. So yeah, he's pretty great. He's a 2100 warrior monster. Also, his third effect is the only downside to him. You can't use him as link material, so once you link into him, he is the only thing that is going to be in your link zone until he gets destroyed, which is fine. You don't really want to have anything else in your link zone, there's nothing really else to go into. The next card that we play 1 of is, of course, Verte, because he helps facilitate the Dragoon. If you don't know what Verte does, I don't know why you're watching this video. He lets you send a Red Eyes Fusion to the graveyard, any fusion card, but you're going to be sending Red Eyes Fusion to the graveyard, and a Dark Magician and a Red Eyes, and then you make Dragoon. Lovely card. You have to pay 2,000 life points. If he gets ashed, you cry. Also, once you use him, You don't get any more special or normal summons. It's done. Your turn's ended. You get to set cards. The next card that we play 2 of, getting into the XYZs, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, is Break Sword. This guy is also busted. If you guys haven't realized the trend with this extra deck, every card in it, for the most part, is busted. So what this guy does is he detaches a card and then targets a card that you control, the card your opponent controls, and then pops both of them. He can also pop himself, which is the main thing. So even if you don't have Bardiche on board, you need Break Sword to get into your big dudes later on, then you can just go ahead and summon a Break Sword, target himself and the thing that your opponent controls, and pop them. His second effect, his most useful effect, is when he gets destroyed by anything, whether that's battle card effect, your own card effect, your opponent's card effect, doesn't matter. When he gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to target 2 Phantom Knight monsters in your graveyard, special summon them, and increase the level by 1 to 4. And that is what he is mainly used for, is to get those 2 monsters to level 4. Because you have some pretty crazy level 4 plays that you can pull off in this deck. So the next card that we play 1 of is my mascot. He is me. This is Dante. Dante is also nuts. He's not busted, but he is nuts. His cost is to mill 3 cards from the top of your deck, up to 3 cards. His effect is to gain the attack. So he goes up to 2,500. If you mill all 3, he gains 500 per card that he mills. If he gets sent to the graveyard, he gets to add any Burning Abyss monster from your graveyard to your hand. So he is really good. He can't add himself though. I only play him at 1 because you only ever really need him at 1. If you make more than 1, you're losing the game. The next card that we play is 1 Beatrice. She's only at 1. She could be at 3. I would still only play 1. If you have Dante on board, you get to send a Burning Abyss card from your hand to the graveyard and then overlay her on top of the Dante. During any turn that isn't the first time that she summoned, be that your turn or your opponent's turn, you get to detach a card and send any card from your deck to the graveyard. Whether that's a Farfa, Fogblade, a Torn Scale, whatever you need in the graveyard, she can get in the graveyard for you. The only limiting factor is having the Burning Abyss monster to send it in the hand, of course, and having Dante on the board. Aside from that, she's great. If she gets destroyed, you get to summon a Dante monster from your extra deck. Not that you have any other Dante monsters. You could play Pilgrim. I tried playing Pilgrim, but as soon as Bardiche came to 3, I switched out my Pilgrim for a second Bardiche. The next card that we play is Levioneer. He requires 2 level 3 monsters. Once per turn, you get to detach and then revive a level 4 or lower banish card that you have. So he just revives your Phantom Knights after you banish them for their effects. There are combos that you can do where he's the main key that you have. He's just more of an extra thing that I can do if I need to recover. The next cards that we play are where the real nuts of the deck comes in. So here is the first combo piece that we have. So this is Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon and Dark Requiem XYZ Dragon. So what these two do is you can detach from this guy and you get to target a face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses half its attack. Standard stuff for this dude. This guy isn't the main key. This thing is what you're really focused on getting. So how you make this guy is you summon this guy with 2 level 4s, then you use your rank up card on this thing. The pro play is to wait till your opponent's turn to do it so that they can't just activate a Dark Ruler on you or droplets on you. They have to wait you out essentially to activate any of those cards, allowing you time to negate with a Dragoon or whatever. So what this card does is once per turn, you can target a face-up card on the field. It goes to 0 attack, you gain the attack, it's permanent attack gain. His other effect is whenever a monster activates its effect, you get to detach a material, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card. So he's a monster negate. The other part of his effect, because it's not done yet, is if you do that, you get to special summon a Dark XYZ monster. So if you haven't been paying attention, you'll have a Break Sword in the graveyard. What that means is once you activate that effect and destroy that monster, if you have a Bardiche on board, you can special summon the Break Sword to the zone that Bardiche points to, and then pop a monster with Bardiche's effect. This card is nuts. The next 2 cards that I play are equally as busted. These cards let you OTK, they let you steal games by themselves. We got Raiders Knight and Arc Rebellion XYZ Dragon. So what Raiders Knight does is he requires 2 level 4 monsters, and then you detach, and then you get to basically rank up into this guy. What this guy does is he can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. What he does is once per turn, you can detach. You then gain the attack of all face-up monsters on the board. All monsters on the field then lose all their effects. All their effects get negated. However, after you do that, you can only declare it with him at this point, but really at that stage of the game, you're just going to be swinging for game with him. So he is wonderful. He steals you game. He's the big beef boy, while this guy is the monster negate. These are honestly two of the most busted cards I've ever seen in my life. The thing that makes this guy busted is none of his effects are once per turn. So that means the monster negate, not once per turn, not once per chain. You try to negate his negate with a monster, he can negate that monster's negate. He's busted. This guy just goes up to like 9,000 attacks and swings for game. He's busted. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Gotta get over him by battle. Good luck. Next card, the last card, is my Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So this is my full art super rare. Of course, this isn't my actual copy. My actual copy is right here. But I just like playing this in casual because I think that it just looks so much better. Like, just look how nice that looks. Lovely. So if you don't know what Dragoon does, he's been in a few other of our videos. Basically, up to as many times as normal monsters you use to special summon him, he gets to pop monsters your opponent controls, and then inflict damage equal to their attack points to them. And then if a monster or spell or trap card would activate an effect, you get to discard a card and negate it. And then you destroy it. And then if you do that, you also gain 1,000 attack points, putting up to 4,000. Did I mention that he can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects? Yeah, he's real fun. Fair, but fun. And by fair, I mean not fair. But that is the deck, guys. Obviously, as you can tell with the amount of busted cards in this deck, it is absolutely tier 0, no question about it. Maybe a little bit of question about it, but at least definitely tier 1, you can't tell me otherwise. This has been Jax Jackal with the Game Knights, off to Titan with the outro. Deuces.
Alrighty guys, I really hope that you enjoyed today's deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed Jax Jackal's breakdown of this crazy deck. Definitely stay tuned for the test hand video that I will be bringing out shortly after. With that being said, guys, have an amazing day and stay safe. And until our next upload, guys, deuces.